Good morning, Abundant Life Church. This is Pastor Chris, and once again, happy St. Patrick's Day to you all. We are finishing up our study of Romans chapter 9, verses 14 down through 23. And what we've seen here when Paul talks about the whole idea of who God chooses and who he doesn't choose, it's really about this. God doing things the way he wants to, not the way people are expecting him to. And what that means is God chose this system. Anybody who wants to come to me through my son can come. Well, God, you should have just chosen the Jewish people. Nope. I'm choosing anybody who wants to come to me through my son can come. Let's look at verses 22 through 23. What if God, although choosing to show his wrath and make his power known, bore with great patience the objects of his wrath, prepared for destruction? What if he did this to make the riches of his glory known to the objects of his mercy, whom he prepared in advance for glory? Paul throws a question out here now. God could have taken all the people who rejected him and just zapped them for their lack of faith. He didn't do that. Why not? I mean, when Jesus showed up, when he was crucified, he rose from the dead, all the people who still didn't believe in him, okay, you're toast. Why didn't he do that? Well, according to the last verse I read, verse 23, what's the end result? The end result is God's glory is revealed. That's so important. Even when people reject God's Son, it still results in God's glory. How? Well, is God going to have a tantrum and wipe out everyone who disagrees with him or rejects his plans? No. God's patient. He's kind. He's willing to give people that time they need to realize what he's done for them and realize that he is the way. So God is patient. God's compassionate. God gives us second chances. That makes him seem weak, doesn't it? No. It makes him seem even more magnificent. And so God's glory is revealed even when people reject him. And that's what really matters here. We have yet another piece of evidence about what a magnificent God we serve. Not because only of his power, but also of his patience and his compassion. I can remember way back when I was starting in youth ministry, the Carpenters were in our church, not the singing group, the family. Neil and Ann Carpenter, lovely married couple. They had the same birthday, by the way. They were like 2 years apart, but they had the married couple with the exact same birthday. They had 5 children, all boys. And these boys, the oldest 3 were teenagers. They were in my youth group. They were all well over 6 feet tall. These guys were huge. They ate like horses. I don't know how they stayed. They kept those boys in food. But Mrs. Carpenter, she was the quietest, nicest, most patient person I've ever seen. And I remember I was sitting in front of her during vacation Bible school one year, and she had this little boy on her lap, not her son, somebody else's. And this kid was squirmy and he was trying to get down and he was being fussy and she kept saying, no, honey, you have to sit still. We're gonna do something right now. And finally the kid turned around and it was this audible. He roundhoused her. And I happened to see that out of the corner of my eye. And I just thought, oh, it's on now. I will never forget. She took his hand, she set it gently on his lap, and she said, sweetheart, we don't hit. Don't do that again. That did not make me think she was a weak person. If anything, I realized how strong she was because she didn't lose her temper, she didn't lose control, and she spoke to him gently and reassuringly, but let him know this is what you need to do and what you don't need to do. I think that's how God is. This passage is really about seeing God's glory. And that's what his plan has been all along, to magnify God's glory, to let people see how great he truly is. The issue here isn't who gets to God and how that choice is made and if we are free to choose and if he decides that before we're born. The real issue here is that we are being shown what a magnificent God we have and what a tremendous plan he came up with and how he did it by choosing all the wrong people. You say, when you say whosoever can come to Jesus, you're going to get some people that you don't necessarily want. You're going to get some lowly people. You're going to get some tax collectors. We're going to get some drug addicts. We're going to get some alcoholics. We're going to get some people who cheated on their families. But they found something better in Jesus. God chose Jacob when that wasn't the way things were done. Then he chose men like Moses and Mary and Joseph, and again, the prostitutes, the tax collectors. He chose Peter. He chose Paul, the guy who was trying to lock up people who were following Jesus. He chose us Gentiles. All of these were choices that someone should have pulled God aside and said, Lord, let's think about this. But he didn't. God used all of us rotten choices to show his glory. That's the kind of Lord we serve. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.